So parents, teachers and carers, what we have here is a multi-layered puzzle on Africa, and it actually helps the child to understand. The first layer is the political states, the second layer is the rivers and the mountains, the elevation, etc. The third layer is the annual rainfall. Of course, the physical aspects have an influence on the rainfall. The fourth layer is the climatic regions, and as you may realize, the physical aspects and the rainfall both have an influence on the climatic regions. And then the last layer is the population density. Now, you know, all these aspects have an influence on what people do, and that's why that is last. So in other words, we want to understand why there are many people living in certain areas and only a very few people in other areas. Okay, so let me remove some of the first layer, the political states. There we go. So now we can see that in Algiers there's the Sahara Desert, and we can see all the physical aspects which are in all the different political states. When we break them up, we can see what is underneath. Okay, so now having said that, let's remove a couple more. Having said that, we want to see how the Sahara Desert actually influences the rainfall. So let's remove some of the pieces there. Oh, okay, so the Sahara is actually a desert because it doesn't have any rainfall, from 0 to 100, no rainfall. Let's see what the rest of Africa looks like, what the rainfall in Africa looks like. Oh, it's very interesting to see that the rainfall in Africa gets higher to the middle of Africa. Of course, that is where the equator is, and in the first layer you can see the situation, the position of the equator. Okay, so then now we're interested to see how the elevation, the rivers and the mountains, as well as the rainfall, influences the climatic regions. Well, let's have a look. Let's break this layer apart. And there we have the climatic regions. As could be predicted, the climatic regions coincide with the rainfall because the rainfall has influence on the climatic regions. You see, once again, the Sahara Desert, the tropical areas, hotter and hotter to Central Africa. And then, of course, in South Africa, there is semi-arid desert, which is the Kalahari, etc. Okay, so now we want to see how all these aspects influence what people do. Okay, so let's break this layer apart as well. And there's the population density. Now we can see, according to the legend, no wonder in the Sahara there are really very few people living. Large areas are completely uninhabited, and then in the lighter yellow there's only between 0 and 2 people living, and then where it gets a little bit darker yellow, from 2 to 10 people per square kilometer. So no wonder, because nothing grows in the Sahara. It's hot, only scorpions live there. Where the rainfall is a bit higher and conditions are more human friendly, of course we see a higher population density around the Nile. And then, of course, let's have a look at the conditions in South Africa. There we go. And of course, once again, this is also a puzzle. So by putting it together, the puzzle builder learns where these areas are and how the density of the population actually changes and develops and are higher in certain areas and other areas.